Senator Dorgan, could I?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Senator Udall, I didn't see you coming.
Thank you. No, Chairman Dorgan, thank you very much. And I want to thank you for holding this hearing. And I'd also like to associate myself with your remarks. I know that you've been an incredible advocate while you've been a chairman of this committee for Indian country and the programs that exist out there. Associate with those. I want to put my opening statement in the record and then just briefly say a few things. First of all, there's some very positive things, I think, in this budget. When I look at the IHS budget and contract services funding and contract support services, I think that there's something positive there that we can build on. And I'm also pleased to see that the EPA requested a 2% set-aside for tribal drinking water state revolving fund, and the underlying Clean Water Act also includes a 0.5% set aside for tribes. So this is something I've been working on over in the Environment and Public Works Committee, and the Justice Department has done the same with tribal governments with a 7% set aside. And so I want to see what this second panel has to say about that, and if the first panel has any reaction too. The thing that concerns me the most are the cuts in school and detention center construction funding. You know, we've had many witnesses come before this committee that have said that we should have a Marshall Plan when it comes to many of the projects in Indian country. And I agree with that, especially in this school construction and detention center construction funding. We need to have a multi-year plan. We need the Secretary and the President and the other officials that are here before us to get together and do everything they can to look at the long term, and whatever these backlogs are, the billions of dollars that are there, and specifically come up with a plan to wipe them out. Secretary Babbitt did it under the Clinton administration. I think it's doable even in the economic climate we're in with the Obama administration, and I look forward to hearing your comments. And thank you again, Chairman Dorgan, for all you've done and for holding this important hearing on the budget.
Senator Udall, thank you very much. We're joined today by the Honorable Tom Pirelli, Associate Attorney General of the United States at the Department of Justice. Then we are also joined by the Honorable Yvette Rubidoux, the Director of Indian Health Service, and the Honorable Larry Echohawk, Assistant Secretary of Indian Affairs. And they have some people accompanying them. I'll have them introduce those who are staffing them. Mr. Pirelli, why don't you proceed? The entire statements of the witnesses today will be included in the record, and we would ask the witnesses to summarize. You may proceed, Mr. Pirelli.
Thank you, Chairman Dorgan and members of the committee. And thank you for the opportunity to testify today regarding the President's 2011 budget submission concerning the Department of Justice's public safety initiatives in tribal communities. As I've discussed with the committee when I've testified previously, the Department of Justice is deeply committed to working with tribal governments to improve public safety in Indian country. While we continue to implement changes that don't require any new expenditures of tax dollars, the reality is that resources make a difference, and in order to achieve lasting results, funding for public safety must be broad and across the board. We're working to put resources in place quickly and efficiently to help American Indian and Alaska Native communities help themselves. In total, the President's fiscal year 2011 budget includes $449 million in resources to assist Indian country through DOJ. It includes funds which we would receive from the Department of Interior for 45 new FBI agents to support law enforcement efforts in Indian country, and maintains the increased number of...
Senator Udall.
Thank you, Chairman Dorgan. Secretary Echohawk, could you address the President's cut in funding for the construction of schools? I understand that a portion of the funding is simply being transferred between accounts, but that there is still a reduction in funds for construction and what impact that is going to have. And I was unclear from your testimony whether you all actually consider it a cut or that it's a flat budget from over last year.
Mr. Chairman and Senator Udall, there is $115 million in our budget for construction, and there is a $9 million reduction when it comes to school construction. So I think the explanation for that, I think I've already commented, is the fact that with the stimulus money, we received substantial amounts for detention and school construction. And in order to move forward on important priorities, other priorities identified by tribal representatives, it was one of those tough decisions that we made. But that does not signal that we're, giving up on, aggressive and strong support for school construction.
What's the current backlog for school construction? The overall number.
Mr. Chairman and Senator Udall, 1.3 billion?
1.3 billion. Okay. And under your, obviously under your current funding levels that you've requested, there's no way you could wipe that out.
Mr. Chairman and Senator Udall, there's no way.
Yeah. On these schools, and I'm very interested because a number of schools in New Mexico have these incredible deficiencies that aren't being taken care of, and kids are their health and safety is threatened. There was a Bureau of Indian Affairs Inspector General report just several years ago that covered some of these conditions, and these were the kinds of things that this Inspector General said. Although we have not yet completed this audit, we wanted to bring your attention the serious health and safety deficiencies we identified in BIE schools. We found severe deterioration at elementary and secondary schools, including boarding schools. And at one point they say these severe deficiencies have the potential to seriously injure or kill students and faculty and require immediate attention to mitigate problems. Now this was applying to boarding schools in Arizona and New Mexico. And my question is after, and this is before you got there, but after receiving a report like this, which was devastating in terms of what was happening in these schools and a devastating indictment, did the department move to correct these deficiencies? And did you do a review of all of your schools in light of this report to see what the deficiencies were and how you would move forward with them?
Mr. Chairman and Senator Udall, I think I can only account for the last 8 months. I can't speak to what action was taken under prior administrations, but in my first 8 months of service, I have taken time to travel to virtually every quarter of the country in Indian country, going into communities, visiting schools, detention facilities, and so forth to learn more about what the true needs are. And I recognize there's enormous needs when it comes to the condition of schools. Those needs are identified, and we would just be willing and anxious to work with this committee to see what we can do to make progress in meeting that enormous backlog.
Thank you very much. And I think, one of the ways to meet the backlog, and I know that you're going to argue for this within the administration, is to come up with a multi-year plan, because currently the way we're approaching this, we're never going to really reduce the backlog. Obviously the ARA monies make a difference, but we're still a long ways off, and I thank the chairman for your indulgence.
Senator Udall, thank you very much.